Okay, mic check, mic check, mic check. Should be able to hear now, see all that good stuff. YouTube, Instagram. Welcome, Mr. Blue here. Let's dive right in. Things are happening. Today's date, Tuesday the 13th of May, 2025. Hopefully everybody had a good weekend, all that. Over the weekend, Mother's Day, all that good stuff. Real quick, just in regard to this week, we woke up over the weekend. Just kind of give you a quick little recap, I guess. Not spend too much time here. We all should know by now, today being Tuesday, and we had a 90-day kind of pause / tariff deal on the table for U.S. and China. Okay, so that allowed the futures to move up late Sunday evening, early kind of Monday morning, if you will, have a gap up in the markets from yesterday. We'll get to the charts, of course, in a moment. We did just have core CPI and CPI come out today being Tuesday, the 13th, right? And if I just kind of take you here really quickly to that, just a simple forexfactory.com. Long story short here is it came in lower than expected. So the forecast for core CPI and CPI, 0.3% year over year, 0.4. And it came in a basis point lower across the board for each of these data points here. So again, inflation kind of calming down a little bit here. And as always, we're going to see how the markets react from that. This is a bit more, I would say, bullish for the market as interest rates. As our interest rates in the U.S. are still high, and obviously there needs to be a cut at some point. But Jerome Powell. Definitely, in terms of last week, data. Okay, and data came in today. For April, a bit more lower, softer than expected. So that's going to be a bit more of a bullish. I'd say a bullish sign for the markets because cutting rates is something that is going to be something good for risk on in stocks, equities, so on and so forth. So interesting data point there. What's going on, Blessing and team? Carlos Paul. See y'all on here. Cool. So let's dive in, of course, to the charts. And I will start with so here's Thinkorswim. I will start with the futures market, the major 4 indexes. And I always kind of bring this up here. All right, but just real quick for the folks kind of just visiting on social media here. I always bring this up every single morning, okay, in regard to the strategy, right? Demand and supply, institutional demand and supply with the top-down multiple time frame analysis approach. Okay, we're going to be starting with the higher time frames first. You'll notice on my charts, when I go over to kind of trading view, you'll see a lot of orange colors, yellows, and blues. What does that mean? Well, everything that you see in orange has to do with the monthly time frame designation. Weeklies are going to be yellow color coded, and then daily time frames are going to be color coded blue there. So anything that you see in regard to those colors are associated with those married kind of color time frames there, right? Candlesticks, great, whatever. A lot of names, fancy names, sounds cool, but location being most important. Okay, and that's bullish. This is bearish. A lot of fancy names, location being most important, and try to train my traders to really understand in regard to demand and supply. Within demand and supply, understanding liquidity, right? And I don't have enough time to explain this right now over here, but I usually just park that to the left over here, and at some point this will probably most likely get referenced for sure as we go through the process here. So I do have the S&P futures upper left. I have the NASDAQ futures upper right, all on daily time frames here. I got the Dow Jones lower left and the Russell 2000 bottom right. And if I just kind of pop up, and I know there's kind of a lot of lines in here and things like that, it might be a little bit tough to see here. I do a little bit more better organization just because I don't want to delete the work and all that. But we spent some time on Monday. Every Monday, kind of I host a kind of let's say weekly prep on Monday, and we kind of go in detail regarding levels with a little bit more cleaner, if you will. We will get back to this in a moment here, right? But in regard to S&P futures daily time frame here, if I just kind of zoom in, I'll keep it short and sweet for right now. But if you remember from last week, okay, we had this May 2nd bar here, all right, daily high here, daily low here, and we were inside bar. Okay, we were inside bar or inside candle, harami, inside the candle for quite some time. Okay, all last week for the most part, right? These candles are all inside of there. We poked our head out a little bit there. We poked our head up in terms of price a little bit there, but everything closed back in the middle here. And then boom, that was Friday, 5-9, this candle right here. And then we got the gap up over the weekend due to the meeting in Switzerland, Geneva, with China and Bassant, Secretary of Treasury in the U.S. So they came to some form of 90-day pause and agreement, and that kind of allowed this market to break this base to the upside, right? So we're talking a lot about this, how this markets have been liquidity sweeping lower, bear trapping bears, and we're just on this kind of squeeze to the upside here. Okay, so yesterday put in a day, right, off that gap up. We finished pretty solid here. There's yesterday's high. There's yesterday's low. And as you can see right now, futures are fairly flat. So even with this good news, inflation lower, right? That's bullish, right? Bullish. We did have this 58.85 level up here for a liquidity sweep right above there. You can see that's basically the high right now. Now, for the record, we gapped up. We had a couple of levels here. Boom, boom, boom. This all, that kind of got taken out. Just, I was expecting at least this level to get taken out because it's very obvious. Mentioning, even your grandma can notice this level here, right? So you got to be careful with that one. 57.80. All right, but a lot of that happened overnight. Sunday late evening, early morning on Monday, right? As futures open, it's a 24-hour market, so it's open, and those lower liquidity levels kind of just got pushed through. And I mentioned, if you kind of go back to any of the past recordings here, I was mentioning I put this big kind of obnoxious kind of pink magnetic line box here to represent that this area up here could potentially be, as we fill this space, if we break this, okay, after a long base and break higher, we could really get some momentum push, okay, and there's really nothing as super high quality, very close to price to stop it. So we kind of blew through that. Now we're getting up into some, I would say, fresher demand that we spoke about yesterday in the live session for hours in regard to levels here. So again, we want to be cautious up here due to we don't want to be buying too high here. So as we get away from these kind of averages and so on and so forth, that we could just have. I'm not saying a big drop down here, but at least what's called mean reversion. Okay. So, as it stands right now, 58.85, that's the high point for the overnight. As you can see, right now it's a doji bar. Okay, very early. We're just kicking off kind of, in about 33 minutes, give or take, kicking off the day for the regular trading hours at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, New York stock market open. Okay, but if I go up a bit more higher too, I have that 5,900 price point level. Okay, I believe that's a daily high. It's not a daily high. I apologize. Where am I find myself here? 5,900. Where am I here? Let me zoom in over here. How about that? That's easier. 59. I was a little bit of a liquidity sweep up there, so just be careful. Okay, and we got. I'm going to delete this. No, there's a supply level there. So 59.47. Okay, I'd be careful with this 5,900. I think I have that there because there's a small little supply level up in there, but I want to be careful because there's no daily or weekly level here. So I'm just basically a little bit of a liquidity sweep here. As mentioned, we already put in tagged the 58.85 right there. So that's that March 4th. The date's down here, March 4th, daily high bar print right there. Okay. So if I look up and left, we got this 59.50 and the 59.77 handle, and there's some supply up in here as well in the event that 5,900 gets taken out and above here. Okay. And as I mentioned, we're going to go back over into the SPY, SPX, QQQs, and I got a couple levels here, nice and clean, that we organized yesterday for some reference points there. Okay, I will drop down to the small time frames in a moment. However, if I look down and lower, okay, of course you want to put a bar here or a price point here. This was of course, yesterday's low. Okay, right down in here. That comes in about 57.30, give or take. Okay, so definitely want to put a note on that. Also, futures, they gap sometimes. It's very rare, but they do gap, right? So we do have this gap now. We have it closed there on Friday evening and then open here Sunday late evening, right? Over the weekend, So you might want to reference this this gap fill. All right, the closing price there is what 56.84. So let me just, while I'm here, just draw a quick little reference point right there. Draw a line right there. Put a note. 84 handle 56.84. And this is just going to be, it's an unfilled gap. So you want to reference this for a potential gap fill. Okay. I'm not saying it's going to happen today. Okay, but put it on the radar. I would suggest. Okay. I'll drop down to the small time frames in a moment. Just referencing the 20 period moving average here as well, right? Something to really keep a keen eye on. As we we're kind of around that 20 period moving average. Say what you want, but it's kind of giving you a nice reference point because it's a fast moving average, right? For the most part, for not super fast like a 5 EMA or a 8 EMA. It's a 20 EMA, so it's kind of smoothed it out there. So you can see, we kind of respected it here. We're respecting it a little bit above it, right? Respecting, broke, closed above it. Now we're respecting it, riding it back up. Okay, so interesting there. And that reference point comes in at about what 56.47, which is about what 40 sub points, give or take, sub 40 points below that gap fill at 56.84. Okay, so this would just be one big kind of mean reversion from this kind of breakout here. Again, I'm not saying it's going to come down here today. Okay, but again, just kind of giving you some foresight going forward. NASDAQ futures, keep it short, sweet. Again, same thing. For the most part, it's going to be extremely similar. I know these charts can get a little crazy here. I like to keep my notes, especially for the trolls online. But if I kind of reduce this, I'll just move this here. This line is too overwhelming. Just reduce that width there. That's crazy there. There we go. Okay. So again, base, all inside week last week. Okay, gap up. Okay, move higher. Okay. We have this weekly 21,050 up here. That's basically the around the high right now. That we just kind of dipped off of that. Dipped off that at least for right now. Okay. If I look up and left, okay, 2150 in the NASDAQ futures here, daily time frame. Now we get a couple of daily highs here, some supply here. Okay, also referencing if we break these couple of dueling daily highs here for some liquidity sweeping. Okay, the next level higher could potentially be that 21,600 handle in the NASDAQ futures. Again, if I kind of just zoom in here, okay, we get a couple of daily highs here that we have not still broken yet. Okay, I'm looking for a potential short liquidity sweep here. Go back to strap 21,471, right above those daily highs. Maybe stop some people out. Okay, buy stops, so on and so forth. Liquidity wise, maybe trap some buyers on daily highs. Okay, and that could just provide a bit of just a quick little, at least minimum intraday mean reversion. Okay, above that we have a drop, a basing and a drop. IBI right above that at 21,605 up into the 21,670 handle. Okay, and again, if I drop down to like the 60-minute time frame, if you will, you'll see that formation right up there, right there. Okay, or another daily high next up here would be 21,820. Okay, so yeah, again, right now we're hovering at that 21,050 level, which is a weekly level that weekly levels. I talk a lot about this with more time, of course. This was a weekly low that was being held quite decent before this March and April drop. So we're kind of coming back up and retesting a couple of key levels here. Okay, and so if I look lower, okay, let me reference this. This line isn't even correct. This is not even G-trap long. But if I reference this gap fill right here, okay, these are kind of all old G-traps that we really up into that we're holding the mother bar. So I got to clean this up, right? So I like to keep the lines there. Okay, again, just to just to show folks these daily highs, right? We come up, green bar up. Okay, these daily highs we come up, sweet. Okay, pull back. Okay, and that's what's kind of last week was holding that mother bar. Okay, but I'm just going to kind of delete that. All right, but I will keep this line up because this is going to be the mother bar high from last week, and we could use this as a retest on the other side. I know I'm going fast, but I got no time to explain every little detail, at least right now on the tube and Instagram. All right, we have classes and things like that. I spent hours and hours and hours and hours with the team traders at Phantoms, right? So this is just not the kind of place and space right now. Anyways, that unfilled gap to reference is going to be where the close is 20,146. Again, unfilled gap. Definitely want to put this on your radar. Yeah, potentially not happening today. Could, you never know, but have that there for future reference. Fair enough. All right, so that's kind of lay of the land. Lay of the land. So we get some movement referencing that 20 pip moving average, hovering kind of down here too. All right. Again, respecting. Finally broke it. Got a new high above it, right? And sweep right below that, right? A couple of daily lows, crazy. Couple of daily lows right there. Sweep right to the 20. Came into this impulse, basing impulse right there. Missed that by a couple of points or ticks. Liquidity sweep, hammer bar, basing, breakout. That's kind of where we are right now. Okay. Cool. I'll switch this back over into the monthly, the weekly, and the daily. Just to give you the lay of the land. That's it over here, monthly, weekly here, daily here. And let me see, I'll switch this over to the S&P futures. I'm just going to drill down, okay, to a smaller time frame here. I got a 60-minute time frame upper left. I have a 30-minute time frame bottom left. I have the 5-minute time frame here in the middle, followed by the 2-minute time frame here. I know that color code right there is kind of obnoxious here with that hot pink. Let me calm that down a little bit here. All right. But one of the first things that we want to do here is map out what's called our Globex high, Globex low, overnight high right there. Kind of freaky, but 58.85 is essentially the high. We had that level mapped out. Again, just simply a daily high, looking for some liquidity. All right. I love searching for liquidity. And then where's my Globex low line? Could have sworn I had it, but I don't want to waste our time here, so I'll just duplicate that in the form of a color code and just put the note there for Globex low. In Thinkorswim, it grays the space out for overnight. So this is the Globex low, overnight low. Okay. Now, these levels here had them, right? These little pink lines over here that we kind of broke through kind of overnight. It just boom, 3 a.m. on early Monday morning, 3 a.m. Eastern, just took off, right? Came up to the weekly yesterday and then kind of pulled back. Okay, so I do just want to kind of clean this up a little bit here. But before I take these off, just to kind of clean it up, what you'll notice here is, okay, there was supply, we broke through that, and we're kind of using that. We used that yesterday as kind of some retest levels on the other side. Now the point being here is that if we break this Globex low, what I'm looking for is a trap trading, and these markets have been doing a lot of what's called bear traps. People were trying to sell short, right, into demand below lows and Globex lows. Okay, then the markets turn and rip to the upside here. So that said, what I'm looking for is a institutional level of demand right below that Globex low. And based off yesterday's just move, right, we had a drop off yesterday, right? Markets were up very decently overnight. Okay, then in the morning we just kind of pulled back just a little bit. We needed to pull back a little bit here to pick up some mean reversion, and then we kind of finished on highs, right? But yesterday did leave a decent little kind of level that we can reference in terms of a set demand zone. Okay. All right, so I'll keep that line there, 58.22, but I just have to change it because now it's going to be demand flip on the other side. Right, so this would be good for what's called a Globex trap long or bullish, if you will. Okay, comes in about 58.20, call it, just be a little bit more conservative here. G-trap long. When do you think it'll fill that Monday gap open? If I had a crystal ball and told you, I would let you know, brother. But that's the thing with trading. We try not to think so much. We try to trade the tape up in or down into it. So one of the best things that you can do as a developing trader and a professional trader is trade the tape and try not to think about it's going to happen here, or no, don't talk in absolutes. So it's going to take most likely some time. Okay. But I don't really concern myself with when do you think that gap is going to fill, right? I'm not really thinking about it that much. I'm trading, right? Because in order for that gap to get filled, we need to, first break the Globex low here, bounce off this level potentially, give us a little bit of some demand down here too, and then it could potentially fill that gap. Another thing too is on these big gap fills, you see how, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, Abdul, but you see how like a dude was like, hey, that gap, where's it going to fill? And that emotion and energy, sometimes what will happen is the institutions and market makers know these things here, right? Where if you break this here and it's like, oh, there we go, we're gonna fill the gap, right? As they get right back down into this area here, they'll trap people to trap these people thinking that the gap is gonna fill, and then they'll revert it back up. And then right, so these gap fills, sometimes they're really smooth, and sometimes they could be, sometimes they'll happen very quick, but sometimes it doesn't, right? When we have a bigger gap, when we have a bigger gap, breakaway gap like that, most likely it's going to take some kind of time. Okay, but we can go higher, pick up some more supply up here first. Okay, that might give it some more power to absorb these demand levels below here, and then potentially fill that gap. Right? Does that make sense? Okay, but I'm not saying you're getting all overwhelmed with it, but try not to. What I try to train my traders is try not to think so much. Right? I know that sounds crazy, right? But I'm trading levels. I'm following my system. I'm following my trading setups, my trade plan, my system, right? And whenever that day happens to the gap fill, that could be next week. Okay, that could be this Friday. Right? I would hope. Okay, that we had some tape low high coming down into that level, at least on the intermediate time frame to fill that. Okay. So I don't know. And what's crazy is when you, as a professional trader, you got to understand that you don't need to know what's going to happen next to make money, right? So I try to keep a clear mind within everything here, and follow the process and system, right? So like right now, before I even concern myself with that gap fill, okay, we got this Globex trap that we can potentially working on first here at 58.20 down to the 58.05 handle for a decent little G trap here today, right? And so that's something that might be on the dock or deck here today, this morning. All right. And one thing I'll look out for here too as well is a potential liquidity sweep right below there. This market has been right here. I'll say less here, right? Level, loop, right, a little bit below there, a little bit of a liquidity sweep right there. Okay, and then it couldn't even get to the demand level right below there, and then it puts in a hammer bar and then takes off. So that said, below 58.05 could be a little bit of a quick little sneaky liquidity sweep right here. All right. Some of y'all asking some questions regarding like what I go over the prop class and things like that. And I respect the questions. Don't get me wrong, but I'm in trade time. Y'all seen a real trader in live action, so I got systems to I got things to prepare folks. I'm a real trader at the end of the day, right? But we go over a couple things. It's just a simple class. The rules, being disciplined, the drawdown rules. That stuff's boring to me. No offense to anybody. I'm not trying to be egotistical or anything like that, but come on, y'all. I'm not thinking about that right now. I'm thinking about trading this tape off the open. Let's go. Globex high, Globex low. Here. G trap, right? How long did I look institutional? What, 20 from 20? Let's say about 10 years, give or take. There's more prop based. The company I work for got sold though out there in New York, but I'd say about 9, 10 years. Kind of before I just took off and my capital grew and I could do my own thing, right? Yeah, about 9, 10 years. All right, same thing. This green is a little bit bright. Dim that down a little bit there. Again, let's make a note here. G-trap. G-trap bullish. All right, we go over this G-trap setup. I spent like a whole over an hour on that setup there. Right, there was an unfilled gap reference right there already, as I mentioned. All right, NASDAQ futures. Yeah, we'll see. Could potentially be a pop. All right, if it does fill this space, because I'm sure there's a ton of this stop loss is getting swiped here on a nice short squeeze coming out of here. So yeah, 21,400 might not be something that is too far out of the equation here potentially today. Okay, but remember, got this white line right here. I'm on a 60-minute time frame, by the way, of NASDAQ futures here. That white line right there is going to be VWAP. Okay, daily VWAP. Okay, I got the 20-pip moving average here, the 50-pip moving average. Again, just to overlay, some averages here, right? So again, you just got to be careful. Don't chase price too far up, okay? Because we always pull back into what's called a mean reversion. Okay, again, I bring this up over here. We're in kind of quadrant 3 and 2. Okay, and so I want to buy low on the mean reversion and then sell high on the extension. Buy low, mean reversion, sell high, extension, high, low. Okay, I got to move on here. I'll go over into. I'll take a peek at gold futures. Hey, Ness. All right, the monthly, weekly, daily. These lines are obnoxious here. Gold calming down a little bit here, range now, right? Still up, bullish monthly, bullish weekly, daily, kind of rangy. Got a couple. Last week we did put in a little bit of a tail up here, right? So the gold run, it needs to come down, right? It needs to come down higher on the higher, not just like on a small time frame, like a 60-minute time frame or a 4-hour time frame, or even a daily. Daily, you already had this. We had this impulse, basing impulse. We already tagged that once. Can rallied up, failed to make a new high. A little bit range now. Came back down. This is the second time down. So could be some liquidity sweeping right here. Pick up some quick liquidity. Okay, so be careful with that. However, if this thing does snap over the next week or two, maybe end of the month, give or take, okay, with this market up, kind of gold down, safe haven gold, things kind of calming down in equities right now, right? Risk on, if you will, at least for right now. We could fill this space. We got a nice little weekly demand level right down in here with that 20-pip moving average and the weekly down in here. So, gold needed a higher time frame, mean revert. Okay, we're kind of getting it a little bit now. So just be cautious right now. Just if we start to break down here, be careful because there could be some liquidity sweeping, trapping some shorts right down in here. So again, gold might not be one that I might want to be keened on shorting. Okay, I'm still going to be waiting for pullbacks to get long entry. Just be careful trying to short this thing on new lows because you might get swiped, and that's going to be a tough downhill battle to go on some shorts. Right, and I'm not saying gold can't go lower. Okay, but it's a tough trade. Okay, VIX. We got to move on here. Dang, time flies when you're having fun. We got 12 minutes before open. Switch over to trading view here. All right, got the weekly time frame here on the left. Again, on Monday sessions, we spend some time, hours, going over some prep, which we already did yesterday, right, on Mondays. But right now, I got weekly over here on the left, trading view. I got daily over here on the right, and VIX, one of my favorite things to look at. All right, very simply put, a lot more to this, but VIX down, market up. VIX up, market down. Do you trade Dow Jones? No, not as much. I'm more of an S&P specialist. I would consider myself an S&P specialist, Abdul. I love the S&P complex. SPX, my favorite market on the planet. And, just in my career, I was just attracted to the S&Ps. So, that's my thing. I have nothing against the Dow Jones, don't get me wrong, but I'm more of a specialist in the S&P complex, S&P futures, SPX, SPYs, VIX complex, Vol. Great question. Right. So we got this. So VIX down, right? VIX down, market up. Now we got, we don't really look at demand supply as much through VIX. It's more of a gauge. Okay, but just note that we got some lower VIX here. Which is also, of course, satisfying this market being up. Okay, at least for right now. All right. Amazon some pain. Mr. Blue, do you have phantoms on the short list from the drug price cap announcement, or just trade the tape as always? News is always going to be news. What I always try to do is do my best at looking at the prices because, we had a discussion yesterday regarding the bottom of the market. That's pretty much going to be probably put in the bottom that April 7th. News is always going to be kind of, not so great, and it will take you down into some really good levels for you to trade or invest off of. So I know what's going on around, within the news, but when you look back at prices, when you got good, really, really, really good levels, on the higher time frames, you want to try to do your best to keep your mind clear and be logical and say, hey, man, this is a really good pickup potentially right here to trade in or invest on, right? And that is going to be in regarding to the higher time frames, being the monthly time frame and the weekly time frame. All right, so check your monthlies, check your monthlies, check your monthlies, check your monthlies. Okay, great question. The VIX. Okay, we're going to obviously map that out on the higher time frames, and I also do map out, I should say, parse out the overnight small time frame low there, overnight high here. All right, VIX down, right? So VIX continues to kind of fade and grind lower. It could be a bit more bullish for the market, or assuming we're sustaining some decent structure above VWAP all day. Right. If VIX spikes up and takes out the overnight high, kind of sustains that, that could be, markets could be pulling back a little bit here. Okay. Even intraday. Okay. So you can see this VIX complex here, down as this market's kind of continuing to rally back up. SPYs. SPY. Weekly on the left, daily on the right. Oh, that's SPX. Apologies for that. Okay, so we do have here's yesterday's high, yesterday's low. Why did this not update? Here's yesterday's high, yesterday's low. Okay, so there goes that gap. Great, we all know that by now. And so we have another slight gap up here today. Okay, so the more this kind of gaps up, the more novice-like it's going to get. However, I would take your attention to these kind of dueling daily highs right here that we mentioned. Call it 585.40. Okay, there's another little daily high right in there too. If you can see, we just round up to 585. Keep it simple, right? Kiss, keep it simple because I'm stupid. But I would reference this daily high and watch out for a potential liquidity sweep, taking out these daily highs real quick. Okay, for a potential mean revert for today. Okay, definitely want to put that on the dock there for today for you folks. Okay, so yeah, we're gapping up here. We could continue to maybe fill the space here. Okay, all right, no catalyst to break this down potentially, at least right now, but just in the search of liquidity always. A couple daily highs here. Okay, that 585.40 on SPYs here. Okay, make sure you map that out. Okay, because there's a daily high right there, and you don't want to be buying high. Okay, so that could easily just provide some kind of pushback intraday wise. Okay, even yesterday we were talking a little bit about these monthly retest levels, and we touched it, we pushed back a little bit, we touched it twice, pushed back a little bit here. So this one today could be right above that 585.40. So if you've been trading long enough and you ever notice like you get stopped right when you have your stop loss, anybody who's trying to short up here, right? You have a stop loss right above that high right there, nicks you out, stops you out by a tick, by a penny, by a couple of points, give or take, right? And then you go in your respective direction that you kind of wanted for a little short-term scale. So there's could be some stops right above there. Also, there is a drop, I'm basing it a drop right above there too for a bit of a trap. Okay, you might want to reference this as well, just kind of intraday, if you will. We don't have a color code for it. It's a 60-minute level right here. Okay, just call it 588. Okay, it could be a bit of a trap right there too. Again, because if you're long, people who are long, they need to book some profits and sell to exit, right? Sell to exit. So as this market's rallying up, sell to exit. And then of course there's going to be some people that are trying to, and traders that are trying to do a quick little mean revert, right? Mean revert. All right, there's only two styles of trade, folks: auto regression, which is trend, and mean reversion. That's it. This is just price and time, and basically human emotion, right? After you do this for so long, it's literally what it is. All right, let me see. So SPX, real quick. Let me do something here real quick. I don't have enough time. There's never enough time. Point 10 SPX is about to gap up to, give or take, the opening print might be maybe the 5860 handle, give or take. This is options depth. The guys over there do a great job on this product here for market makers exposure here. Definitely do not have enough time to explain this at all right now. This is a heavy concept, heavy detail. What I'm looking for right now is gamma nodes. So I want to see that 5865 handle, 5865. So we do have some stuff here. So what's freaky about this is right here, and some of my phantoms will know this, the 5865 is literally entering a positive gamma regime when he peak at 5870 classic. So that liquidity sweep that I just mentioned in regard to right above the SPYs and SPYs, okay, for SPX, it's right here at 5865. So what I'm doing is finding confluence and finding liquidity. All right, so watch out for a trap here. So I would suggest to TP, which means take profit, some longs here for sure. Okay, and this could provide a mean reversion trade, okay, which is kind of a counter trend. So you got to be careful with this. It's a little bit more advanced, okay, but that's what I'm looking for here on the dog here. Right, if we get up there. All right, Qs. Kind of ugly chart here, but we were talking about how this market's on a high, low uptrend on daily. Qs, if we gapping up, Qs don't have that daily high right above there, but you might want to be looking for March's high. I would put a pin on this 513 handle on Qs. That's March's high above a monthly high. There goes your potential liquidity sweep out here for today. So again, that note that I just did, right? If long, take some profits on some longs here. Okay, and this could provide an intraday, intraday mean reversion. Yeah, this could provide a high. This could provide a high too for a bit of a deeper mean reversion. We spoke a little bit about that yesterday. We spent what three hours in session. Okay, Apple. I'm gonna go through this pretty quick. Hey, Matt Chan, it's a trap. Yeah, brother, we were talking about that. Man, Instagram, man. Nobody likes Instagram. I don't know. Nobody. YouTube. Not a lot of people on IG. I get it. I don't watch anything on IG either. Apple. I'm not going to speak about Apple right now. It's just in the middle of everything. My man Pinsky from Phantoms, I think I saw him in here talking about Dylan. Amazon, some pain. Yeah, he's developing into a monster trader. So he is correct in that close here. Red bar close, gap up here, still inside gap, but has a little bit of a pain gap there. So Amazon versus Apple, Amazon would be a bit more, at least right now for pre-market. Things can change very quickly off open, but that's a bit more better than Apple, if you will, just in regard to the gap. All right, AVGO has been a monster here, clearing these levels. Gap up here. This is more of a continuation gap. Want to get a little bit, getting a little bit novice-like up here. Trap. Okay, we were mentioning this. All right, but typically I need a level to lean against for these novice gaps. So we still have some space. We got this weekly supply level up here, starting at 2 kind of inside range in the middle here. So I'm just going to completely avoid that. It's all about what the setup is going into it, and I'm not going to waste any time. Tesla setting up. We had a monster trade last week. For the last couple of weeks, I would say. I mentioned this squeeze. I'm still working on this. Definitely one to look out for. Slight gap up here today. We were doing some work yesterday, late session, in regard to also use this GEX bot for squeezes, and that's still setting up there. We just got the open. Let me just take a quick peek here. I'm just going to switch over here, put the daily on the left, and drop down to a 2-minute here for right now. Just got the bell ring. All right, let me just check internals really briefly. All right, make sure this stuff's loaded here. All right, check internals. Be patient. It wasn't even barely a gap at all. Advanced declines, ADD, New York stock advanced issues versus declining issues down negative 1,000. I'm sorry, positive 1,000, positive 1,000, positive 1,000. There's the zero line there. Extreme would be positive or negative 18 to 2,000. A trap is a trap. We have a bear trap and a bull trap, Ryan D. There's a bull trap and a bear trap. Trying to trap bulls or trap bears. Right now we're gonna be concerned with trapping the bulls, liquidity sweep, trap bulls on mean reverse. If that makes sense. However, if S&P futures, right, for example, and NASDAQ futures, because that's what I covered, at least regarding those traps. Bull trap up here, bear trap down here. Right, at least on an intraday scale here. If that makes sense. Let me see, AMD. AMD is always a bit of a harder one to trust. Off the open, let me see what Amazon do here. Yeah, Coin, for the record, I own Coin, long-term portfolio. I want more shares on this, but this is actually a breakaway gap. Excuse me, a breakaway gap above the rising 20. Everybody who's short is getting cooked right now. So actually, this has some decent momentum. This is a pain gap here, decent. And we're clearing monthlies. So you could potentially work on this here today. I like the way that we're just gonna watch out for a gap and crap. But this is a nice little breakaway gap. So for example, if you were to pick up maybe a 30 delta here, even just for a day trade, the 250 strike, you're going for about 445 in terms of options prices. Okay, that's fairly decent there. All right, now on these big gaps here, just be careful. What I wouldn't want you to do is, what I would suggest is don't put your stop loss right below here, because this could pull back. Okay, shake out the weak traders. right? Get them scared that their loan's not going to work out, okay? And then push back up. So I'd buy some here, and then I would allow this to come down here, okay? And do not get scared out of this trade here, right? And with these massive gaps here, you got to be a little cautious on this, right? So here, I'll pick up some here at the 250 strike here. I'll get in this, but only I would suggest maybe do half size, okay? Half size. So long call, half size. Okay, and be okay with it coming down into this area here. And then you can deploy the other half size here. Now, I don't just want to guess on this. Now, check this out. What we can do, half size to full. All right, and one thing that we could do is take this premium, copy this code here, go over into kind of like what we call put matrix here. It's just a workspace that we developed at Phantoms, the team. Okay, so you can see I got these long calls here. Let me get this in my other account real quick. So. All right, so you can always, I'm already going to, you can already TP some over here already if you want and scale out with some here. Okay. All right, so that's what I'm going to do here. All right, just TP some there. So TP Timmy 1, take profit. All right, what I was mentioning there real quick too was that we could put some pullback orders in here because I was mentioning about half size, right? So I already took some from 375 to what, like 440s or whatever it was. Okay, and again we could put some pullback orders on this. Okay, so you can even just re-engage this here at VWAP and then put the size down here. So what that looks like here on the premium chart is, what was it? What we got for like 375. So I'm just putting a bid here at like 365. Okay, then if that goes lower, swipes that new low, you might be coming down into. I'm playing some more conservative here, especially because I'm on the internet here, so I got to be careful. Right? I don't know who's watching, and people get different, get the wrong idea, things like that, right? So I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just protecting peoples and phantoms and all that kind of stuff. So, so therefore, anyways, got a limit where I have it 270. All right, and I'll throw another one down here at call it $2 here. And again, basically what that is doing here is I'm putting limit orders in lower, okay, to potentially to get some more long here, okay. Amazon Painski, Pain on Amazon. Let's see. So we got SPX. We got a nice little positive COG here. All right, but remember that 65 handle was a target, so I want to make sure that is anybody's option step frozen? NVIDIA followed through. AVGO. NVIDIA got some good push follow through here too. Yeah, Mark, I can't seem to get my options depth. AVGO got some space here to 227. I don't want to chase it too much. Netflix looking decent too because nice little pullback here. Swipe last week's low yesterday. I saw that yesterday. So Netflix also looking decent here. Risk on environment. So there's some trades here, folks. All right, let me just snag some SPX real quick. Come on. This restream software like really slows down your computer. I looked it up online. Even really cooked up computers, it's annoying. Relax. I don't want to be too late to this, but the I always pick up, say, I already am a little bit, but if I pick up the 5900 SPX here, strike. Turn the volume up on this computer over here. All right. It's too loud. I just got long some SPX. This setup's here today, folks. See. Amazon giving us a little something here, a little bit of a pain breaking already. Got that daily high that might get a sweep above there. So let me see. Amazon. This is why in the future I need a trade floor and I need traders because I'm only one guy and I can't catch everything. These folks in here are becoming monsters and we need more than one. Amazon. May 16th expiration. If I were to pick up the 217 strike here for there's a 29 delta, give or take. My SPX entry is a little late. It already gave us what we needed. Pick up some Amazon here. Shit. People just walked in to see my house. Not the great time. They didn't even attack me, man. Shit. SPX, I'm gonna add to this. Straight call here. We're pulling back a little bit. Looks like options depth is down. Flush it down the toilet. Hurry up. All right, there was already a little morning pump here. All right, Amazon coming into that monthly March high. Okay, so you definitely got to play this a bit more aggressive. Okay, it's already very I'm in a little bit late on this too, so you want to play this a little bit more aggressive. So make sure you get some limit orders out because we get some daily, some monthly highs. Okay, we're coming into. And I didn't want coin. I unloaded some stuff there, but it's just basing here, right? Somebody said Carvana. .com. Advanced declines, going down a little bit there, but still up, positive. Valdi up, not super strong. VIX quiescent, quiet. OD up now. All right, we could pull a high VWAP here. NVIDIA is one of the alphas here. Just got a positive CRG on the 2. It's kind of in the abyss here. Netflix, positive CRG. Netflix, NVIDIA. If I pick up NVIDIA here, it's just a 41 delta for $1.63. That's not bad here for a day trade. Again, folks, make sure you got your limit orders in above. And NVIDIA pulling back a little bit there. All right, you may put in the bid here, 140, 145 on the premium here, 147. Front on that. All right, NVIDIA bid. And make sure you get your limit orders on SPX. We're pulling back. See that daily supply that we're up there, it's still it's still hovering and maneuvering around it, right? It's just we're still above daily VWAPs. We'll see. VIX is not giving us much right now, so as long as VIX doesn't spike. So I got some bids in here on the video. Yeah, Pinsky, Dylan, you can see I'm doing a lot of pullback orders right now, so I just want to be really cautious here. Is that? Looks like options depth is back up. If I kind of zoom in. Yeah, so you can see, look, this is telling me it's going to be a little bit choppy here potentially, right? But, might people get up into above the 70, all we need is like the 65, 70 handle SPX, and we're good on that. Netflix going. All right, Amazon. Blessing, tell us what to do in Amazon. TP some here, right? TP some Amazon. All right, nice little move there. All right, and here was SPX about to hit that level, right? From pre-market prep. All right, we're touching a daily high. We bought low, sell, high TP, some SPX. Amazon hit TP. Oh, I'm missing the video by a couple of ticks. Yeah, so a little bit late on SPX. So average feels terrible. Let me take some out of the other account here, see if we can get a little move here. But SPX just touched that to the T there. My average feels not great on SPX right now. And coin. Probably need a pump there. All right, broke new high on day. All right, now this is a positive COG. However, we're touching that daily high to the T. And so this location is not super great. It's a positive COG in the 2-minute time frame, very small time frame. Okay, so you just see I just reduced exposure here. So we're going to be courteous of this up here, right? This did just change a little bit on the up. This did just change a little bit, got a little bit more heavier, darker. up here. So if we do go, we could pump a little bit there. Originally, the 65.70 handle was some positive gamma, which we still do have. Don't get me wrong. But the darker color up here looks like somebody just sold a credit up here. We do have a negative GX a little bit below. We're in a trough right now, so we're going to be a little careful. So this is why I'm just protecting some gains here or being cautious. Thank you, Blessing. Thank you, because it's in my other account. Pullback order, just staying quiet, being a little conservative there. Thank you, Blessing. TP some coin. Nice. Tesla creeping, almost like that base. Build up some more position. For you Instagram folks that are just like kind of stopping by, this is recorded on YouTube, so you can watch the recording. I'm a real trader. I does this. I do this. We do this. No BS. Yeah, Ness. It's because of like this kind of when you got like low volatility. We're actually in a low volume situation. TP some SPX. Oh, NVIDIA. Being too conservative on that. TP, go on a TP campaign on everything. NVIDIA, the breadwinner. All right, so just TPing some SPX. Oof, NVIDIA. The vid. Let me gotta unload some Amazon as well. We're at that March high. Unload Amazon, unload Amazon, unload Amazon, unload Amazon, unload Amazon, March high. And NVIDIA breadwinner. The vid. When putting a limit order goes wrong. It's life. That too aggressive there. TP NVIDIA, if you snag that. Yeah, unwind some size on SPX. We got a heavy gamma node here. Heavy gamma node up here. Let's see how that Tesla squeeze is going coming through. What's Hems doing its thing? Hems is him. Nice. Nice. Going. New high. Unwind some size. I own this stock. I missed this a long time ago. I don't have a good price on it. I was making a joke that is not appropriate for online, so I get banned. Cancel. Nasdaq new high, TP, just like SPX and SPYs, etc. That NVIDIA pump would have been nice. You can try to work on this on a pullback here, bring your limit orders up. I want to make sure this squeeze is still potentially pending on Tessie. I made a mistake today with one of my screens. I forgot this morning. I didn't switch over this morning into the right proper time frame. That's my fault. Man, Broadcom was an easy trade. Broadcom NVIDIA was easy money. NVIDIA, Broadcom NVIDIA, easy money. Microsoft creep. SPX new high. Let me unload a little. I don't have a lot left on SPX at all by any stretch, but let me take a little off on coin as well. All right, if you're aggressive, you can try to hold out for a nice pop. But I have this thing ABC always be closing, so I want to always reduce some, especially in options with data decay. So is Tessie popping? Tesla pop. This thing's already underway on a squeeze. This is not want to participate. Let's see, but if I take, yeah, Hims is taking its own medicine, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. That thing's just, brick though. We stopped though. All right, Tesla pop here. SPX doing this thing. Gotta be a little careful with this just because if SPX hits some kind of node, that pullback. So once we get up into this 80 handle on SPX, definitely got to be a little cautious here. 80 to 87. That said, that can provide a little pullback on Tesla. So, but a couple of these pullback orders have not been getting filled yet. But be careful, because now if we do get a pullback later in the afternoon, because we get some kind of reverse kind of people in this industry. Oh, you get the 10 a.m. reverse. You get a 10:30 reverse. Every hour there's like some reverse. It's kind of odd, but been doing this a long time, and markets just move between demand and supply. But that said, if you want to pick up what's Tesla trading right now, 323.30s, and the weekly high that I had referenced is 326. So don't want to get too far away from that. 326 is like right here. So for maybe pick up like maybe a 30 delta, just because I'm online here too. I want to be a little cautious with folks here in regard to risk. Okay, but if I were to pick up, say, the 337 half strike call on Tesla, this could pull back on you. Okay, this could pull back on you. So put that into your risk profile, right? It's already going there. I got to TP some SPX, so I just pulled the trigger on Tesla. Definitely gonna put a pullback order in there on this, like 330. All right, that's Tesla. Let me take a little bit more off of SPX, because this thing's, and I noticed that the options are not pumping as much. I mean, we're only 25 points away from 5,900. These should be pumping, so that's telling me a little sketchy up here. Little sketchy up here. That said, especially I just put some risk on Tesla here. So I'm down to like one contract on SPX for a runner after this TP here. And you see SPX just pop new high, but the premium's not pumping as much. I mean, the premium's always a little bit more of a laggard. But VIX sleeping. That's okay. But watch out, because if it spikes up, pullback would be pending. So I just reduced, basically almost everything on SPX here, and down to just one little runner. Yeah, Grimsy. That's just like my sequence of right. There you go. That's SPX. All right, Tesla hitting that weekly TP. All right, 40% return, even on a late entry here, give or take. All right. See if we can get up to SPX, 80, 85 handle. There you go. The SPX premium here is trying to pump there. Man, I just keep missing the video. Damn it. All good. Stay focused. Yeah, Abdul, it's been like that for a little while now. Sweeping the shorts. So this thing updated on us here. So now we're, like I said, be careful with this 80, 80 handle, 85 handle. Okay. So this SPX, if you want to take it at this 80 handle, you can do so, okay? I'll do it for the gram. Yes, we have two styles of entry, and honestly, I'm not on the video as much as what I should be, but had a pullback entry here. But this is what's called a positive COG, so above what's called fade VWAP. So there's two styles of entry: a limit order pullback. Okay, make sure you reduce some size. Already did that, right? And on that Tesla order, be careful with that, right? And let's see, I got that pullback order to reload Tesla down here because I already was in late Tesla. All right, so good. We need some kind of pullback here, but yeah, this was a positive COG here. So I completely dropped the ball. I didn't lose any money on it, and I didn't think it was a bad trade, but I missed an opportunity a little bit here. For the record, right? At Phantoms, I don't BS. We don't BS, man. What you see is what you get. Not some fake BS kind of weird stuff on Instagram and this kind of stuff, right? No offense to anybody else. I never talk about another man's business. That's just them. Do what we do in here, and it's live. So yeah, I have some limit orders in here. Just didn't pull back enough. I'm not aggressive enough on the video, and the video is probably arguably with a Broadcom, and I'd say even HIMS, and so there's a bit more of the aggressive ones that you could have played, right? Because the setup was good. The setup was good. I want to be clear with that. Right. So this is why developing a team, and you got multiple traders doing it, and you can catch more things. Strike for Tessie was, which I might be actually re-engaging right here. I can get down into this 330 VWAP handle here. 337.5, sir. Steph. Corey. SPX new high. Carvana good too as well. A lot of opportunity here today. We've had a lot of low volume, Abdul, just overall. That's why this rally is a little sketchy, but man, this market's going, y'all. It's going. Even Google's trying to wake up. Now, let me check VIX. Man, is that right? Is VIX still why is my VIX chart? That does not seem right. Is VIX alive? 1776, America. It might be touching a 5900 SPX today. Wild. Yeah, it's on its VWAP. You can reload a little bit there. Man, NVIDIA new high. Looks like they just gone for that iron condor. Did Tesla? Man, I'm missing these little orders, but pennies, man. Yeah, unload. What I wanted to see real quick too on this is might front run the 5,900 by a couple of points just for a mean revert. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Technology is not my friend today. Stay calm. 50 on GexBot. We got 5905 sold convexity. So you can work on the 5,900 SPX for potential mean revert. There's the that high gamma node right there comes at about 5,900. Q's new highs. So just TP some. Always be we got follow through. All right, so check this out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to SPX. A lot more money was left on the table here. Oh my God. Too slow here. Everything's freezing on me. This is where the days are like, don't have to worry about doing both beat stuff online. I could just go, but these this restream is really slowing me down, man. But it's all good. This is why I meant no disrespect earlier when somebody asked me, like, what's your prop firm class? Like, explain your prop firm class. I'm like, man, I got no time for that right now, man. You see, right? I'm not saying it's that's things like that, but just it's trade time, baby. Opportunity, right? So check this out. So if we get up into, watch this. If we get up into what I'm going to be looking to do here is I like this gamma node here, right? So 5,900, right? And so options depth has 5,900 as a nice little positive gamma node there. I don't have enough time to explain that right now, but he also on GexBot there is a sold call wall at 5,900 on retail, which is the bought call wall for market maker exposure. So all that in English means that as this market's rallying up, as we get into this peak of gamma up here, okay, market makers, as markets are going up, they have to sell into this. Okay, so there's going to be naturally some profit taking, plus market makers going to be selling into this. Okay, to hedge. Okay, to hedge. So we can use that information. Okay, and tool to potentially, and now we're getting some wide range bars up. So chasers and things like that, right? You don't want to see these wide range bars up far away from average pricings and so on and so forth. So what I can set up is, watch this. If I say, okay, if SPX on Thinkorswim here, price slice, I can say if SPX gets up to 5,900, and maybe for a counter trend scalp short, mean revert. If I were to say pick up the would be open today for 53 handle 50. So what if I just say pick up like the 50 handle to keep it simple with math? If we go, I'm not getting this now. The condition would have to, SPX would have to get up into the 59 handle, 5900, right? It'll be about it's a very low delta, which is not that great. Usually I like it to be like a 20-25 delta, maybe, give or take. Okay, but this premium price would be about, it's going for 390 right now. Minus 180. It'd be about $2.10 per. Okay. Yeah, listen, SPX ended up cranking. And I took my last one out for the gram, so I only do it for the gram. So, yeah, I'm slowed down a lot with this streaming thing, but that sounds like an excuse, so I'm not going there anymore. But yeah, I'm not too happy about that. But if I can condition this 58.50, create a good order, and say, okay, create duplicate order, because I was on analyze tab, I was pricing out what this option price would be and what delta and risk reward, all that kind of stuff, right? But if I go into here, settings, I can say, okay, pick up this 58.50 strike put, day trade for today, buy it, you do it at market, SPX super liquid. The condition here, putting in SPX market price equal to or above, because this is kind of be has to be at or above the 5900 handle. 5900. Yeah, that's why I was gonna front run. I was gonna front run the 5900 by a couple points. I probably would have chose 97, give or take. So I still probably would have missed, because the high right now is like 95. So, so 5900. I can put that in. I mean, patient. It's only 1022, so remember, we're just a nice little pullback here, right? So that's what it looks like. Again, I'm just like doing 1 or 2 or 3 contracts here in this little small account, the public account. We run things here by the book, so we gotta make sure that Phantoms is good. This is okay. Anyways, so I got that in. Just put that in. All right, and I think Tesla just got filled. Which things changed on Tesla a little bit. I gotta get to that. And I'll just put that over here and put that kind of in preparation for this right here. All right, so it's not filled yet. This is under a condition, the 5850. Okay, it's under a condition. There's also some freaking guy like in my house that I don't know right now, which I'm not too comfortable with. Moving in, anyways, but the this Tesla, I had this limit still pending kind of in there that filled, but let's check that chart. It just got filled at 330. Let me snag some other account too, just so everything's clear here and the same. But I got to revisit Tesla chart because all right, that's Tesla in. Go to this chart. Pull a high view up here real quick while I'm here. High on day. All right, so I might just cut this just because it kind of changed. Well, let me digress. Wait, let me put some rules on this. This is daily view out. This is why you got to do due diligence and follow your system. All right, so if we got a daily, you got daily view up right here. We got a level of demand right here. All right, so you don't want to be emotional with your trades, right? So here, I'll make a rule attached to this, right? Like if Tesla breaks this demand zone that's right below VWAP right here, I'll stop up, right? All right, so I added on this, right? So I was a little bit late here, in boing, boing, right? All right, ready for the pullback on VWAP, kind of re-engage this on VWAP, that blue line right there. And stop loss here. And then therefore you take yourself out of the equation in terms of emotional and things like that, right? So stop loss. No, it's somebody. I have to fix something in the house. That's what it is. Yeah. A contractor just showed up. Like, hey, what's up? I'm here. Like, what? Who are you? As you can see, that Tesla trade, I mean, it added, it's not super powerful as what it was before. So you can maybe scalp out of that a little bit if you wanted to, but all right, let's see. Or this is a small little time frame here. See if we can try to get up into this area here to TP some. He's target number one. Right, so like you just put a limit order up there, right about right here. Put in a TP, 395, 390. Limit order in there. All right, we'll see if we can get that. And stop loss on this premium would probably be roughly about 290. So be a little quick little one-to-one, see if you get that. S&P's dying down a little bit for now. VIX is just low vol. We get some movement. So this tape was taping today, folks. Price action. I didn't add to coin, but I want to take some more off of coin. Man, SPX and NVIDIA, HIMS, there's some good opportunity today. SPX, got some SPX, but not enough. All right. All right, so TP here, if SPX pops, for what it's worth, we just had a positive COG above this fade, but we're going to see if that fails or not. What time frame do I use? All time frames. Monthly, weekly, daily. Monthly, weekly, daily from a high time frame. And then, but just to answer your question, I got the 60 here, the 30 here, the 5 and the 2. But there's non-negotiable. You got to use the monthly, the weekly, the daily. I don't care if you're a short-term scalper or a small time frame, just trying to be, trying to take some scalps here and there on futures. That's cool. And I do that, but this is non-negotiable, like the monthly, the weekly, and the daily, right? In Wall Street, we used to call them weapons of mass destruction, right? WMDs. Weekly, monthly, daily, monthly, weekly, daily. But when you get down to the small time frames, some people will use maybe like a 4-hour time frame as their kind of middle intermediate, and that's fine, right? Maybe you got a 4-hour here, maybe you got a 60 here, maybe you got a 15 here, maybe you got a 3 here, right? 3 minutes here, right? The one thing I will say is kind of try to keep it consistent. You might have to go through kind of what time frames like kind of you like to see and synced up and all that kind of stuff, right? But be consistent, right? Like I see a lot of potential traders, they'll use like the 4 hour one day, but then they don't see a level, so they'll drop down, and what you don't want to do is try to make the charts, try to make out what you want to see, right? I want to see what the markets are doing based on the market's perspective, not what I want to think, or what I think should happen, is what I'm trying to say, right? It's not about what you think of Phil and what the market's going to do. So, like, I have an image in my brain that is just over and over and over and over and over again. In fact, I'm a little bit upset that, like, the video, right? This image is just beautiful, godsend, and I didn't get filled on it, right? And I wasn't aggressive enough on it. Right now, I will say I do like that 2 minute time frame for those positive negative COGs. Sometimes I find that the 1 minute is a little bit too much, and you get what's the word? Kind of, it's too choppy, and you might be faced with more chop more than anything, right? And then sometimes I find that I have the 5 here. Like, I think of the 5 minute and kind of the 2 minute as kind of a team, right? But sometimes if you're waiting for the 5 minute positive COG, sometimes it might be a little bit late, and you could have provided a little bit more of a better RR ratio on the 2s, right? So it's kind of like a balance, right? And I kind of put it as like the 60-minute time frame and the 30-minute time frame as kind of a team as well. So here's like my lower time frame team. Here's my middle kind of intermediate time frame team, 1 hour 30 here, okay? And then I got my high time frame team, right? Monthly, weekly, daily. Alan, you're crazy. Yeah, noise. Thank you for that, Michael Hansen. Noise. Yeah, good word. Right. So, yeah. Like, one of our members, Santo, I think he likes that 15-minute time frame, right? And that's cool. Like, as long as try not to change it, right? Like, once you got it, you got your process, you got your system down, right? And like, I see the visuals over and over and over and over again. Right. This is a skill set development. And I'm big on making sure you take pictures of your pre and post kind of look at that flipper. Whew, got to trend day. We were on that. Looks like. SPX, boom, TPTP, looks like right. So, beautiful trend day there. Anyways, stopped out here. So, man, I love trading. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Anyways, loser, bad ad, loser, ride. So, yeah, you got to be real. You got to be real with yourself in trading and investing. On the video, the one that got away today, somebody put that in chat early, man. Shout out. Market's kind of calming down a little bit here as needed. So, the video coming up into some kind of level up here. So if you're still long that, make sure you're peeling off. Because it was called Fade VWAPs. So yeah, the tape was what we call taping today. Beautiful. Straight quadrant number 3 and 2 here. Nice. All right, I think that's it for me now, folks. Make sure you're reducing your size. Coin kind of died down a bit here. Okay, so definitely left some money on the table here. In all honesty, he's very open and honest, right? Kind of battling a couple of silly technology delays with this. This restream technology slows things down a lot when you restream on multiple platforms. So it's a blessing and curse. When you're in with official Phantoms, we have a different. There's no lag. Everything's fast. You see it right there. But so this thing even slows down. Like I use this computer is not super intense, but it's legit, and I don't download anything here. It's just a trading computer. It really slows this down. So I might have to make an adjustment at some point there, but overall decent. GC is I think I mentioned this earlier, but the monthly here, weekly here, daily here, gold futures. We already hit daily on the right. We have an impulse, basic impulse. We already hit that one time last week, and we failed to make a new high here, so hitting it for the second time. So we're talking just rangy, which is needed, right? A little bit of a wick here, a little bit of a doji topping tail here. Now I'm not saying gold's gonna come down here. It could. I'm actually hoping it does. We can build some more longer term swing trading here too as well. Now, watch out for a liquidity sweep right down in here. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of stop losses built in here. So just be careful with this open space, right? Say, oh, short gold, you get swept, mean revert, swept, mean revert. Okay, so this could be a bumpy road trying to short this thing. Okay, if it happens quick, great. And you catch a short, great. Just be careful with that because we still have not broken this level yet. Okay, just watch out for liquidity sweep right below there. But again, with that emphasis on the weekly time frame, right down here for some rebuild for longer term longs and swings. Okay, gold's just been beautiful impulse correction, high, low. Okay, daily's letting us know a little bit here in the weekly that a little more basing here, but we're in the low range of this low basing here. So in fact, there could be a trading setup instead of trying to short this thing, right? You can even just set up a potential liquidity sweep long down here for what's called a fakey breaky potentially. Now you have to wait for that to develop. But in other words, if I were to put this side by side here like this, right, in regard to the hard right edge over here, we have a red bar here. If this bar closes inside, right, inside bar, and we have to wait for that to see if we don't make a new high, new low on the day today from yesterday's high and low, you could potentially have a liquidity sweep where it swipes down, stops these people out here, traps some short sellers, okay, traps some short sellers, close right back in, okay, so like fakey breaky, right, breaks his trap, right, closes back in for a fakey breaky wick, and at the low range, this is a good location for that, okay. Now that said, before just blindly looking into that, what I would want to see is some kind of demand zone right below here. Ooh, right, previous high over here. If I look here, just kind of zoom in. I went to a 60-minute time frame here, and let me zoom in a little bit more. There is a little guy. There is something right here. Y'all see this? So there's a setup there. In fact, I'm going to take that. Throw some limit orders in there for fakey breaky. I can't get it on the 1 hour. On the 30-minute. You can zoom in, go on the 30-minute. You'll see an impulse, basic impulse. Sanjay data going to kill the. It's not 0 DTE. It is Friday expiration, but market's just calming down right now. Still kind of respecting VWAP. But yeah, data is going to be somewhat of a small issue here. It's not 0 DTE, but Tesla could, if Tesla did happen to just pop off this VWAP, you should be able to get a little bit of a pump here. All right, but you can see SPX struggling on its high on day VWAP right now, just for now. But there is something down right below in here, right below that daily lows there. Nice little trappy trap. So call it the 3180. There's even an IBI right there. Now that's developed overnight, so I'm going to be a little careful with that. At least this was developed during the regular trading hours. Okay, that low right there. So I'll call it, 3180s to 3166s, and I would not want to put my stop loss right below there either. Right, so I want to give some room on that. If we start to get lower down here, then we're just going to be filling this space. So there's a little bit of a trap right here. So put my stop loss, 3158 on this, if this makes sense. All right, folks, let me go handle, well, I'm still going to be trading, but I got to go. I'm going to refresh my coffee. Sorry for the delays on these things here. Technology, they just have me paused here and there for all this stuff. So, I guess that's the blessing and curse, streaming online and multiple streams and all that kind of stuff. So, but boy, what a day already. Plenty of opportunity. So much. All right, for my phantoms, y'all know I love y'all. Trade safe. I'll see some of y'all later today, potentially. And if you're not a phantom and you're like, I don't know what this guy's doing, but maybe you want to learn a little bit about it, you can go to this website here, Phantoms. Yeah, hey, Matt Chan. Good job, man. I see you, brother. I don't know if you're a phantom or not, but I see you, brother. TradePhantoms.com. Register, pretty basic. This Thursday, May 15th, right? 7 p.m. Eastern, name, email, you can send the link, all that kind of good stuff. Mr. Green, I think Mr. Black's doing it this week, right? Based on the podcast that we were talking about earlier today. Mr. Black will be hosting about 90-minute session. Mr. Green will kind of pop in, help answer some questions as usual. Here's the agenda. Y'all can read that. But yeah, real deal stuff here, right? Short-term trading, long-term wealth, everything. Not just stocks, futures, forex, options, even crypto. Loving this crypto portfolio right now. Bitcoin almost at new highs. And if you're just starting out with a small account, all good. And if you're, up there in age and looking to just use trading and investing as a retirement business, great as well, right? We have some phantoms that have multi M's, and we have some phantoms that are not even out of college or, barely out of high school and just starting out their career. So come one, come all, man. All good. All right. Cool. God bless. Take care. Trade safe. Blue out for now. Don't give back any profits, right? Don't get FOMO and stay disciplined. And the market will take care of you if you take care of yourself, right? If you take care of yourself first, the market will take care of you. As you can see, there's so many setups available today that it's almost hard to catch them all. So you got to love these type of these days, right? Not every day is like this. So make sure you protect those gains, protect those profits. All right. And that's it. Blue out. Ciao for now.